Hey guys, welcome to Monday Move where we enhance your asana. Today we are going to go through a few variations of lunges, particularly runner's lunge, low lunge, and high lunge. I thought I'd group these all together because they're all very similar. There's just some minor details that change between the three of them. So let's hop on our mats and go through some lunges. I want to start with runner's lunge because that is more of a transitionary pose, but it's important to also understand how to transition the correct way also. So that's where we're going to start. I'm going to move these blocks out here away just for a moment. So we primarily step back into a runner's lunge from a forward fold. So if we come into our forward fold, the main thing I see that people do is they have their hands in front of their feet, which sometimes is okay, but when you're preparing to step back into a lunge, that's going to restrict how far back you can step your lunge leg. So if my hands are in front of my feet and I come to step my right foot back, I'm not going to get very far, all right? And then because my weight is forward in my hands, my front knee is past my ankle, which we don't want either in a lunge. So to fix that, when you're preparing to step back, take your hands to the outsides of your feet. So your hands are already framing your feet. Then as you step back, you're going to get the proper length of your lunge. You're not going to have to worry about readjusting anything because it'll be easier to line your knee up properly over your ankle. The next thing is once we're in the lunge, we tend to sink. So press down through your feet, squeeze your back knee straight, and lift the hips about 2 inches higher than you think they should. Yeah, you're going to work more, but this is yoga. Scoop up the small of your belly, reach your collarbones forward, and have a nice active runner's lunge. Now, if you're in this position and you feel compressed or the floor is just too far away, this is where the blocks come in handy, and you can have blocks ready for you to help the floor be lifted up. All right, so let's step forward. And now I'll use the blocks this time. So if we're folding forward and we already know the floors tend to be too far away from us, and my hands are on the blocks already. As I'm preparing to step back into a low lunge, which we'll go into now, I frame my feet. I'm going to step my foot back, starting right back into runner's lunge. But now the only difference is we drop our back knee. Toes can remain curled under, or you can uncurl the toes. One variation is staying here, hands on the ground or blocks. The higher you get, the more core you have to activate. So if you bring your hands up onto your thigh, you really have to work on zipping up your lower belly. So this is another option with your hands on the thigh. Second option is arms stretching up overhead. Now what I like to do to really feel the opening happen is I press my back shin down through the floor, activating my thigh muscles. So I'm stretching and strengthening at the same time. My outer hips are hugging in. I'm not letting my hips open up. I'll turn this way for you to see. So when I squeeze my outer hips in, it allows me to keep my hip points, my hips squared forward. If I just let my hips go and I open up, I'm really not stretching the areas of my body that need to stretch. All right. So again, just like runner's lunge, I'm pressing down through my foundation, my back shin, my front foot. My outer hips are squeezing in, lower belly lifting. Arms overhead, arms on thigh or hands on thigh, or hands on the ground. Again, nothing else changes, just the hand positioning. My legs are active, my hips, my core is active, and so that's low lunge. So I'm going to turn back this way, come back into a forward fold, and again, this time I'll take the blocks off to the side, and now we're going to work into a high lunge. All right, so my hands are framing my feet. Right? They're on the sides of my feet. They're not forward of my feet. I'm going to step a foot back into runner's lunge. All right, I'm already activating my foundation. I'm already pressing the floor away, so my legs are strong here already. Now for high lunge, our back knee does not touch the floor. So bring your hands up onto your thigh first. And note to see if your belly starts to drop forward, like if your hip points are really being pulled forward and you feel crunching in your low back as you start to lift your chest. If that's happening, allow the back knee to bend so you can, again, zip up your lower belly and connect to your core. And then hands can stay on your thigh or, again, reach them up overhead. Once you start to open up, once your hips start to open up a little bit, and you feel like you can start to straighten that back leg out a little bit more, squeeze the back knee straight, stay connected to the core so you're still lifting that lower belly, arms overhead. Nothing else has changed between the low lunge and the high lunge, except I lifted my back knee. My outer hips are still squeezing together. I'm still pressing the floor away. I'm still connected to my core. My knee is just up off the ground. Whether it's bent or straight, that depends on my flexibility. Hands down to frame your foot and step forward. So those are the 3 lunges that we just went over. So we have runner's lunge, which is the transitionary pose. Be sure to frame your feet with your hands as you step back into a lunge. Once you are in a lunge, whether it's low lunge and your knees on the ground or high lunge with your knee up off the ground, you still have to anchor into your feet. You have to activate the legs. Outer hips are hugging in towards each other to help stabilize. Your lower belly, between your belly and your zipper, that lower belly, scoop it up. And then the arms, once you get into class, the teacher's going to have fun with your arms and you can pretty much do a whole lot of stuff with the arms. But that foundation is key. All right, go try them out. If you have any questions, reach out to me and I'll answer them as best as I can. Otherwise, see you next week. Bye.